A moment in history I believe Tracy first brought to my attention at my orientation meeting. The year was 1977, and several proposals were presented to allow women into Rotary, but like previous attempts years before, they were all voted down. It looked that year as if the night of mirrors and life as it is had won, and that idealism and liberalism had lost. That life as it should be remained an improbable and impractical goal. At that time, just as now, Rotary had the four-way test. But Rotary, who had adopted those principles as its core beliefs, was failing to live up to them. The idea that women shouldn't belong to the organization was, one, not the truth; two, not fair to all concerned; three, not building goodwill and better friendships; four, not beneficial to all concerned. Oh, and I imagine probably wasn't all that fun either, at least for women. But luckily for us, some Don Quixotes of the age came to the rescue and managed to take on the windmills of tradition. They dared to dream their impossible dream. I imagine they would have liked the quote from the play I saw that night. Maybe they saw it too. Maybe they were inspired by it too. That it doesn't matter if you win or lose as long as you follow the quest. Now, they were a small, inconsequential club in Duarte, California, or so it seemed. But they did the most idealistic and liberal thing imaginable. They just went ahead and did the right thing and admitted 3 women to their club, nonetheless. Even though Rotary had declared it wasn't ready for women members, let alone a woman president. Long story short, they lost their charter, got kicked out of Rotary, but they refused to back down and they sued. And eventually they won this case at the Supreme Court 10 years later. That year, the Duarte Club was reinstated and became the first club in the world to elect a woman president, Dr. Sylvia Whitlock. And they adopted a fantastic motto, the mouse that roared. In honor of that noble effort, I would like to declare that personally, I am ready for a woman president. And that I'm reassured that sometimes life as it is does, every once in a great while, manage to come of age and become life as it should be. I hope and trust that you all are too. So I hope you will join me in expressing support for our next president. Tracy, congratulations. Oh, did you think I was talking about the President of the United States? Just to clarify, before we jump to any conclusions, I was just talking about Rotary. I mean, the US, that's an altogether different matter. Or is it? I mean, the US, now that you mention it, that's an interesting question. Maybe we should take a peek at the US Constitution, the rule book for this national club of ours, and find out what the founders envisioned to see just how hard it would be to change the status quo. Let's see, Article 2, Section 1, Clause 5. No man except, oh, I'm sorry, I misread that. Sometimes our minds have a way of jumping to conclusions. Turns out the original said no person except a natural born citizen shall be eligible to the office of president. I guess it appears the framers of the Constitution were ready. My goodness, that would mean our nation's been ready for almost 250 years. I guess we're not just ready, but very, very, very long overdue. I wonder what we've been waiting for. I wonder if we'll ever jump to that conclusion. Maybe this is the year we all get to personally witness life as it is become life as it should be. Maybe this is the year our nation will finally have its own coming of age moment. I, for one, certainly hope so.
Thank you, David. And Hank Walters, would you come up and introduce the guests? And while you're doing that, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. I'll hold that in mind as football season enters.
I am here to introduce our guests here in the room, if you wouldn't mind when I call your name, standing and so that we can welcome you with applause. So first, Diana Hoffman, a guest of Liz Vital. Yolanda Trevino has 3 guests: Racanel Paulino, Alma Vasquez, and Rebecca Vasquez. And Sandra McGow is here as a guest of Stacy Bruce. Are there any guests online?
Hi, everybody. And Hank, no, we do not have guests online, just us Rotarians.
And we're glad to have all our online partners. I think we have Alon helping us on there. We forgot to allow you guys to enter sooner, so apologies for that. But you're here now, so that's what's important. All right, for birthdays, we have one birthday this week. It's Richard Milenchik on the 13th and no anniversaries. So briefly for announcements, RILA applications are due soon. It's time to submit any candidates we may have for RILA. We have 1 so far. We have funding for 4. So 3, that's a great opportunity, a great teaching, learning moment for leadership. So if you all have anyone in mind, please see Joy about that. And then secondly, you may notice the little handouts on the tables for Teachers Warehouse Fund Drive. While we did a great job a couple of weeks ago, there's more to be had, and they are taking donations at My Sports Locker. Up until the end of September, there's a list of items needed. If you'd like to donate, please consider doing so. And with that, Michael, happy dollars. We need some happy dollars. Nobody happy? There we go.
I'm happy for $10 on my account. My grandnephew, Ben, has just completed his basic training at Great Lakes Naval Station, and he's now a sailor. So I'm happy.
That's great.
I have several happy dollars and I'm generally happy. And I think this is there are 5 and it is my 5th week in retirement.
Here's to retirement. I am very happy because the Kansas City Royals are in playoff contention and it's August. It's a miracle.
I am happy because my charming daughter, Liz, is now engaged to a wonderful man named Davis. Thank you.
Oh. It's kind of fun watching Michael work the chairs in this room for a change.
I'm happy with Lynn. I think retirement is underrated.
I'm happy because my son just put charge of a project. He's working on a new vaccine that may eliminate all food allergies.
Wow.
They thought it was just going to be for peanut, but not that. They think it might be for all food allergies. And the final trial right now up at Riley Children's Hospital.
Wow.
$25 happy dollars for my daughter, Mary, who has her birthday today. She was born on my mother's birthday as well. She's very special. And my daughter, Mary, is one of the doctors and nurses that is working on putting a pig in a person's chest who needs a new heart. She's going to Washington next week to see if the government approves. So go for it, Mary.
So I'm happy that my cousins who are traveling from Dallas, where they're from, going all the way to Virginia, decided to take a side trip up to Indiana and that they're here to see Rotary in action. So glad they're here.
All right, one more, Mike. I'll check online.
Okay. I'm happy in a number of ways. It's a beautiful day and the flowers are great. But I also am happy because I was one of the original 6 members were sworn into Rotary in 1970 and 1988. And I feel as I'm glad I'm a Rotarian, but it's kind of out of spite because I had run for Congress the previous year and wasn't allowed to speak publicly to any of the men's clubs. So when I was introduced, when I was asked to join Rotary, I did it with great delight and a little sort of a sense of, so they're there. Yes, and I have not regretted it. Okay.
Any,
Joy, are there any online?
Yes, Raj, take it away.
Yeah, I'm very happy to share with you $50 for finishing the physical move from North Carolina to Chicago, Illinois. We are very, very pleased with this move and looking forward to be near you in Indiana.
Good afternoon. I am very, very happy. My baby girl turned 27 this week. I received news that I'm the recipient for the UNC Greensboro Health and Human Performance recipient, alumni award recipient. And then I received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award.
that's awesome.
That was signed by Biden, so I feel good. Thank you.
All right, last one, Michael.
Well, I'm very happy because Art Lotz brought his favorite. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. But anyway, his favorite shirt for me to wear. It's Fly Kilroy. Now,
Yeah, don't do that to us, Art. Don't do that to us. Thank you, everyone. All right. On that note, this is our club assembly meeting, and if you could put the slides up, Alon, we're going to have several presentations. You may recall at the beginning, when first was inducted, we talked about the importance of service to Rotary and how that really is our foundational element. And so the elements that we're going to talk about today from an assembly standpoint are specific to that first slide that I had shared with you. Specific to developing of acquaintance as an opportunity for service. And I want to talk about that one in that thank everyone here in the club because we are still getting a lot of new members coming. We're still having guests come, and that is how we meet new people. And that is how we build more service within the community. Second part we're going to talk about is the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal business and community life. And then the third piece is from an international perspective. So really the assembly today is to help us get grounded because we do have a lot of new members on some of those key elements and what they mean to us and to the community. So we'll first have Andrea talk to us about family, fun, and friendship. Then about Bloomington Rotary Foundation, which is still confusing to many people. And then the Rotary International, again, still confusing to many people. So trying to help everybody understand because that is what makes Rotary International so powerful in helping control things like polio, providing water, et cetera. And then lastly, we'll close it out with Dr. Rotary Jim Bright on the 10th annual toast. And again, celebrating strong community members within the community. So on that, I'll have, for some reason it's not progressing. Oh, now I went too far. Andrea Murray, if you would come up and share.
Hello, everybody. I'm Andrea Murray. I'm a new member of your club, our club, and I'm also a member of the board. I am co-chair of the Family Fun and Friendship Committee, which is responsible for planning, among other things, the holiday dinner, which is going to be December 12th at the Country Club. So everybody save the date. You all want to come. We have already met with the Country Club folks and planned a menu and some other things. So we're working on that event. My co-chair Heidi Schultz is sitting back in the back. There she is waving. And we have a lot of other members on the committee. I'm not going to tell everybody's name, but it was wonderful to see people sign up for that committee and want to help. We're doing this dinner on December 12th. Save the date. It's a great chance to get together and just sit for a meal and listen to a little music and play some fun games and further the friendship between us, which is, strengthens our bonds and gives us a little boost in the chances that come along to help various causes like Teachers Warehouse or other things that we're involved in. The dinner is going to have, you'll recognize it from other years that those of you who have gone, as kind of a choice of menu. We'll have a good selection of vegetarian, meat eaters, everyone's welcome. I'm also open to ideas from you about other ways that we can kind of spice things up, maybe a pitch-in dessert menu, if people want to make cookies or if people want to make pies. I went to a wedding once where they had no dessert at all, except people all brought pies, and you should have seen how many great pies there were. The other event that we've kind of got on the horizon is maybe a spring flower walk along a trail here. We have heard from various people about the flora of Indiana, and some of the speakers have mentioned specific wildflowers and specific invasive species, and this could be a chance to learn a little more about that. I also would be very interested in any ideas that you have about events that we could do. Now, we try to make sure that people who have less mobility than others can still be included, but not everyone wants or will go to everything. So what I'm looking for is just a kind of a brainstorm. And if you feel like it, you could talk to me and I could take it down and we'll make a note of it. We'd like to plan the dinner, a spring event, and then something else just to get us all together, have our families together and have fun and friendship. So talk to me if you have ideas and I'll be happy to listen and take notes. Thanks.
That's awesome. And I'm super happy to have new members stepping up to help us all out. And on that note, we'll bring up our experienced member, Sally Gaskell, to help us understand the Bloomington Rotary Foundation.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm really happy to have this opportunity to provide a little information about our club's own foundation at this assembly. This is what I'm going to try to do. Next slide, Alam, please. Oh, I do it. Oh my God. It worked. First and foremost, the Bloomington Rotary Foundation, or BRF, is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. Now, the club, which of course is comprised of all of us, is, my understanding, a 501c4, which is a social welfare group that's also a not-for-profit. Both are exempt from federal income tax, but only the 501c3 allows donors to receive a tax deduction for your gift. So that's probably why we were created, and I'll get to the history in a second. Our purpose at the Bloomington Rotary Foundation is to support our local charitable work. So whenever you think about BRF, Bloomington Rotary Foundation, local, it's all about local. The board of directors is made up of members of the club, about 15 of us now, I think. If you are a current board member of the BRF, could you please stand? Yeah, we've got Trent Deckard, immediate past president, Alan Barker can't stand because he's double dutying over there. Sarah Laughlin is our secretary. Claire Kest is our treasurer. Alan is the VP / president-elect. And then we have 3 new board members. Jarno, you're not standing. You should be standing. We have Jarno Rodich and the 2 Johns, John Zodi and John Weikart. So thanks to everybody. And just a quick reminder, we have a meeting after today's club. So, how many of you have ever been confused by the difference between Natalie is the first to raise her hand. The difference between the 2 foundations. Okay, so once again, local, remember that word. Next slide. Oh, no, I do it. Oh, you did it. Oh, okay. Okay. Whew. There's a lot of stuff. We were founded in 1986 by men, because only men were members of Bloomington Rotary Club in 1986. Were any of you there at that time? Yep, we got some. Thank you very much for supporting the founding of our club's foundation. So the initial gifts were made in memory of club members and spouses. And then less than 10 years later in 98, we were able to create an endowment fund at the Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County. That was thanks to Lily, who gave $7,500, and our club matched that to create an initial endowment of $15,000. And in a minute, you'll see how far we've gone with that. So through these years, the foundation would make small grants to local not-for-profits in response to initiatives for service. So service often costs money, and that's where our foundation and its dollars come in. In 2004, we contributed a significant startup grant for Teachers Warehouse, founded by Judy Witt and other club members that year. 20 years later, we're still making gifts through the foundation to Teachers Warehouse, but a lot more as well. In 2015, when the when the Rotary Toast started, which Jim will be talking about, the BRF began receiving contributions from everyone who's attending the Toast dinner and from corporate sponsors, because again, we are able to provide not-for-profit tax deductible gifts. So we now serve all 3 clubs. By the way, most Rotary clubs throughout the world don't have their own private foundation. Generally sizable ones will. Jim, you probably know how many there are in our district, certainly Evansville and us. Terre Haute and Columbus. Okay, so a minority of clubs, but you see the need. So by 2015, we were starting to plan for our centennial in 2018, and the members of the foundation and the club decided to create an 80-20 fund so that every member of the club could painlessly make a quarterly donation to the foundation to support its centennial work and other things. So the 80-20 fund means that you opt in by giving $20 each quarter that Natalie puts on your bill. It adds up to $80 a year. And there are about 50 of us who currently support the Bloomington Rotary Foundation and our local work that way. So our current focus is all about raising funds for endowing our scholarship. Think about the scholarship meeting that we have once a year in May. It is one of the most phenomenal service activities that our club sponsors year in and year out. We give 4 scholarships to graduating Monroe County high school seniors for their college tuition and other expenses. And we also give 3 $500 awards to current Ivy Tech students. We have a whole committee of Bloomington Rotary Club that awards the scholarships by interviewing all of the applicants. And then we have a collaboration with Ivy Tech where their counseling staff selects worthy individuals, adults, to receive those funds. So I remember when my daughter was in high school, she graduated in 2009. Those high school awards were about $500 a piece. Honestly, we didn't get much attention from that. They weren't that impactful. So at some point, the board and the board of Bloomington Rotary Foundation said, we really need to up that. So we tripled the amount up to $1,500. And I think those are meaningful awards at that level. They're not going to be meaningful forever. So we're going to have to keep thinking about upping those as the years go on. But that's where it is right now. So usually, you may recall, we fund those scholarships by fundraising through a Hyper Happy Dollars event at a club meeting just prior to the scholarship presentation. In addition to that, there is interest money that comes in from the endowment at the Community Foundation every year that also goes to support the scholarships. So what was determined a couple of years ago, when Lauren Snyder was the president of the BRF, the foundation, we decided to try to fully fund the scholarships every year so that we would not have to go to the club for that extra amount of fundraising once a year. So that means that we have embarked on an endowment campaign. Lauren called it the Fountain of Youth campaign. We now just call it the Scholarship Endowment Campaign. And to support the current amount needed at $7,500, we think we need to get to about $200,000 in the endowment fund. Oops, that was me. Remember, we started at $15,000 in the endowment. We're now at $127,000 in our endowment. And that's, of course, due to the generosity of our club members. That's who gives to the Bloomington Rotary Foundation. I think there's been one exception over the years, and that was a partner of Lauren Snyder at Hilliard, no, not at Hilliard Lyons, at Baird, sorry, who has given in support of Lauren and his initiative to start the campaign. So where you come in into all of this, we have, for this endowment campaign, 7 major donors from the club who have pledged or given $60,000. Some of that is counted already in the $127,000, some is not. Others of you have contributed to a year-end appeal, which we'll continue to do. But we would like everyone to join in this effort. One thing that you can do is to opt into 80/20 if you haven't done so. If you don't know if you're in the 80/20, you're probably not because you haven't noticed it on your quarterly bill. Natalie will tell you whether or not. Again, it's a painless way to help support this work of our club's foundation. But also, please consider joining the effort with a major gift. That's anything $1,000 and up, and you can pay it over however many years you'd like, usually 3, but 3 to 5 is fine. Remember, our goal is to reach the $200,000 level by 2030. So we've got 6 years to do that. Please consider joining that effort. There are 3 of us from the board, the Bloomington Rotary Foundation board, who are charged with the fundraising currently. I'm always looking for more board members. And that's Sarah Laughlin, Liz Vidal, and myself. So if you have any interest in supporting our scholarships program in perpetuity, please come to us. Otherwise, we may come to you. The other thing to consider, apparently this is Make Your Will Month. I learned that from WFIU's development director this morning. If you have a will, please consider making a bequest to the Bloomington Rotary Foundation because you'll know those monies will stay local. The funding will be determined by your foundation's board of directors. It's all about service to the Bloomington community. So again, Bloomington Rotary Foundation, local, local, local. I look forward to your questions later.
Thank you, Sally. Yep, that's mine. And now we'd like to ask Yolanda Trevino to come up and we flew right over. Sorry about that, Yolanda. There we go. And talk about the Rotary International Foundation.
So thank you, everyone. We're hearing about the BRF. The other one is really called the TRF, the Rotary Foundation. But oftentimes it's like, we call it the International Foundation, right? So the Rotary International Foundation, but Rotarians around the world call it, and you'll see it in literature, called the TRF, the Rotary Foundation. So this year I am serving as the chair along with several of our club members. And I wanted just to say thank you to those who have said yes to helping us to do the same thing, to raise funds to support what the Rotary International, or the TRF, does. And that this year's committee is comprised of Peggy Frisbee, Mike Baker, Winston Schindel, Gerono Rotich, Vivian Bridges, Elizabeth Thompson, and Alan Barker, who has said, hey, I will be there as long as I can and when you need me. So thank you, everyone. So what is the Bloomington Rotary Foundation, or the Rotary Foundation? It also is a nonprofit corporation that supports Rotary clubs, Rotarians, the efforts of Rotary International to achieve world understanding and peace through international humanitarian, educational, and cultural exchange programs. And it's supported solely by volunteer contributions. Why? It's, again, all the things are four-way tests. It's to advance world understanding, goodwill, peace, and by improving health, providing quality education, improving the environment, and alleviating poverty. So how does Rotary do this? I mean, Rotary is huge. It's a global organization, Rotary International. We're members of our club, but with all of our clubs, we're part of Rotary International, right? So how does Rotary International do this? Well, it does it through, we heard, Polio Plus. Since 1988, Rotary and its partners, the World Health Organization, governments across our globe, have immunized nearly 3 billion children against polio. And we know that you don't just get one immunization, you have to be immunized multiple times too. And then there's new kids being born. So there's this annual immunization. And as of June 2023, which was just here a year ago, Rotary has committed more than $2.5 billion to global polio eradication. Well, Rotary also invests in the Rotary Peace Centers. And each year, Rotary funds into people. And so there are Rotary Peace Centers where individuals earn a master's degree or a professional development certificate. And as of recently, there have been over 1,600 or 1,600 fellows from over 140 countries that have all said, I am dedicating my life to help promote peace. It could be through government or even in their own communities. And go even, because that's where everything starts, in our communities. Well, we heard about local. Rotary International also helps to fund district grants. We are part of our Rotary district, District 6580. And so these are now small scale grants for more short-term projects related to our mission in the Rotary International Foundation. There are global grants that are large scale international activities. It includes humanitarian projects, scholarships, vocational training teams. We hear about disaster response grants, right? Whenever there's tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, disaster responses. In 2022-23, over 321 disaster response grants were given, and that totaled $14.8 million. Programs of scale. I mean, so it just goes on. Rotary is an amazing organization that we're Rotary, that we're a part of. So how do we do this? By giving to Rotary. And how do you do that? In a lot of different ways. We heard about last week, we had Paul Harris Fellows, right? So Paul Harris Fellows are people who either have given or someone has given in their name over $1,000. And so they receive a Paul Harris Fellow distinction. But when you give $100 or more per year, you're considered a Rotary Foundation sustaining member. Okay, so that's $100, like 80-20. You could do it $25 a quarter. And then you can be a multiple Paul Harris Fellow, which we heard and there's those who are multiples. Then there's the Paul Harris societies, there's a Bequest Society, a lot of the same things. You can become a major donor, an Arch Clump Society. Arch Clump, he was a Indiana, he was a Hoosier, he was an Indiana guy. And there's a program in his name. So Hoosiers, we're movers and shakers, and we are, and so are you. We can also be considered and have a club recognition through the international, Rotary International, by becoming a 100% Paul Harris Fellow Club. And so it's like, well, how do we want to do this? So there's a lot of different ways that we can support Rotary. Well, our board of directors that we have said for this year that we are going to have and reach a goal of $19,000 that we're going to give as a club to the Rotary International Foundation. FYI, we did that last year. So our goal is to even do more than that, but we've got a threshold and we got our mark. And so the goal is to maybe that we can do more. So let me see here. Advance. So how to do that? For those of us who are very digital and tech savvy, and of us who are becoming more and more of that, you can do it online. Swipe that card, tap that card, do all sorts of things. Go to myrotary.org. You type in your name, you type in your password that you create, and you can put it on your credit card. You can do it a lot of different ways. You can be invoiced through our club. And you can donate one time, you could do it quarterly, however you would like, right? And there we go, at one time or recurring. And so the Rotary International Foundation, it is what we see is it grows. There is more power when we do it together with others. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about the Rotary Foundation, or TRF. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yolanda. And now to bring us home, Mr. Bright. We have a little toast coming up.
Thank you, President Tracy, and thank you, Yolanda, and Sally and Andrea, for your presentations. It's my pleasure today to be here to invite all of you to join us on November 1st for the 10th annual Rotary Toast. It's hard for me to believe. It seems like just yesterday that we were launching the Toast back in 2015, and it's been a wonderful experience. How many of you have been to a Toast? Wow. Okay, I'm preaching to the choir here, but I know we're blessed to have a lot of new Rotarians, and so if you haven't been, by all means, please come out and join us. November 1st is the date, Friday, November 1st. And this is Rotary's Night to Shine. This is our signature event. Back in 2015, we were looking for a signature event, an event that would stand out and would be something everybody would know that Rotary stands for. And we've been successful. So you don't want to miss this. The Rotary Toast again this year will be at Ivy Tech's Shreve Hall. Plenty of close parking. It's organized by the 3 Bloomington Rotary Clubs, and it provides much needed support for our many community service projects. As Sally mentioned, our share of the money goes into the Bloomington Rotary Foundation to support our charitable works. Here's how it works. Each year, we select an honoree, someone who represents Rotary's mantra of service above self, to honor. And then that honoree selects a charity to receive half of the proceeds, with the other half being divided equally between the 3 clubs to support our charitable works. Now, this year's honoree is the man you see on the screen there, Doug Bowder, and he has chosen Quarryland Men's Choir, making that organization the first arts-related recipient of Toast funds. And Doug is a founding member of the choir. Now, Doug served as the first coordinator at IU of what's now known as IU's LGBTQ Culture Center and that's a position that he held for 25 years. And as a friend and mentor, Doug built bridges with countless students, organizations, and the community. His passion and dedication literally helped him save the lives of numerous students struggling with the loss of support from friends and family, harassment from peers, and from homophobia. Doug continues to serve on many committees in support of diversity and multiculturalism, and he has received many awards, including the Robert Schaefer Outstanding Staff Award and the Trevor Brown Award from the IU School of Journalism. In 2019, Doug was awarded IU's Bicentennial Medal and the Distinguished Service Medal in honor and recognition of distinguished service and incredible support of the LGBTQ community and of the university. Now, since this is the 10th annual Rotary Toast, a big milestone, we want everyone to be there. And if you can't make it for whatever reason, at least make a contribution. And to buy your tickets or make a contribution, very simple. You just go to www.rotarytoast.com. That's rotarytoast.com. And it's easy. I can say that Ann and I bought our tickets the other day, and it took less than 5 minutes. So a quick history lesson on the Toast. Again, founded in 2015 with 3 objectives. Number 1, to recognize an outstanding citizen who reflects Rotary's motto, service above self. And number 2, to grow awareness of Rotary's good works in the community. And I can't believe how awareness of Rotary has skyrocketed in the 18 years that I've been a Rotarian, and most recently in the 10 years we've had the Rotary Toast. And number 3, to raise money to support Rotary's core causes. Now, in the past 9 years, we have raised, get ready for this, $368,000. And do the arithmetic there, and that's about $41,000 per year. Again, half of that has gone to the honorees core cause, with the other half being split between the 3 clubs. Now, current Toast committee members from our club are Alan Barker. Alan, bless you for all the many committees you serve on. Ron Barnes, Natalie Blaze, and yours truly, Jim Bright. With additional members of the committee from the North and Sunrise clubs. Now, here's a quick look at our previous honorees and the organizations they chose to support, and you're going to recognize these faces here. Okay, left to right, we've got Dr. Larry Rink, Ron Remack, and Becky Rizmalos. And you can see, well, maybe you can't see up there. Dr. Rink chose to support Boys and Girls Clubs of Bloomington. Ron Remack chose to support an organization called Upstart. It was a YMCA Stone Belt partnership to help people with disabilities. And Becky Rizmalos, Friends of the Monroe County Library. Next, please. 2018 honoree, Connie and Steve Ferguson, who's chose the Ivy Tech Scholarship Fund. Carrie Curry, a wonderful philanthropist. His money went to the community foundation, his family's Compassionate and Caring Community Fund at the Community Foundation. And then legendary sports writer Bob Hamill, who chose the Hoosier Hills Food Bank. By the way, Bob was during COVID. And if I were to ask you which of these raised the most money, Bob Hamill. And one, because it was Bob Hamill, but also because it was in a COVID year and we didn't have any expenses because we really didn't feed anybody. Yeah, a gourmet dinner that year. And the next slide, please. I bet you know the person on the left. Yeah. The one and only, the wonderful Charlotte Zitlaw, who, in case you haven't noticed, was the first Rotarian to be so honored here by the Toast. And we had made a pact with ourselves on the committee that the first 5 or 6 years, we would not choose a Rotarian because we didn't want it to look like nepotism or inside baseball. But when it came time to select a Rotarian, it was easy, wasn't it? Yeah, and it was a splendid evening out there at Shreve Hall. with Charlotte Zitlow. And Gladys Devane, who chose Life Designs, something near and dear to her heart. And then last year, Judge Stephen Galvin, who chose CASA, an organization that he has supported for years. So anyway, immediately following today's luncheon, I'm going to send you more information. Again, that link, rotarytoast.com, and how you can get your tickets. Now, tickets will be on sale only until October 13th, unless we sell out in advance. And there's a good chance that we will, so don't dally. That's just 60 days away. October 13th, it is August 13th, so 2 months away. And Ann and I, again, have our tickets, and we want to see you there. Don't get shut out. Thank you very much.
All right, I think we have time, Michael, for maybe 2 questions, maybe 3. Any questions out there? And Joy, while we're looking, anybody online? No questions. Well, I see Jeff right behind you.
This is for Jim. What happened? I know that you mentioned the charities that the Toast supports, but what about the other half of the money, Jim?
Yeah, actually, I think the person who asked the question would be probably the better person to answer it. Because she's our community service chair. And so right back at you, Sarah, why don't you tell us some of the wonderful things? I know it supported the refugees.
That was just going to be a softball for you, Jim. So half of the money goes to the honorees charity, but the other half is split equally. Oh. I hear it. Oh,
there you go.
The other half, the remaining half of the proceeds is split equally among the 3 clubs. And it has funded our district grant match for the last 10 years. And there's been money left over because we've done so well at the Toast. So it does allow us to take on community service when we otherwise would be wondering where were we going to get the money to do that.
Awesome. While you go to Jeff, is there anybody online with a question? All right, Jeff.
Sally, great presentation, but I'm one of the people on the scholarship committee that feels we should raise those scholarships now, but I also want to endow for the future, so we don't have to solicit. So how can we do both? How can we get let's say the $1,000 that you need to start building up toward 200,000, but how can we also get some more money right now? These scholarships, we have kids going to private schools that to the tune of 70, 80,000. And if you add expenses, $100,000, we're giving them $1,500. And it seems like a drop in the bucket.
Jeff, thank you for that fabulous question. One of the easiest ways is to opt into the 80-20, but that will only give us $80 a year from you as an individual. So if you are interested and able to think about a larger gift, please talk to me or Liz Vidal or Sarah Laughlin. That's the easiest way to get it started. And we'll make sure that your gifts are there for perpetuity.
Awesome. All right. In the spirit of time, I have one. Natalie, please put me down for $20 in happy dollars, because I just saw a smile that has been missing for this room for a while due to teaching obligations. Wilson Shatandi, it's so fabulous to have you back. I'm sure the students aren't happy, but I can tell you your Rotarians are thrilled. And on that note, everybody online, everybody in the room, we are giving you a $100 donation to New Leaf, New Life for the program today. So that's for all of us, because we all contribute to what's happening in the service above self for here. Acknowledgements. Thank you, Natalie, our executive assistant, for everything that you do. Rex Hillary, fabulous job greeting. Hank Walter, nice to have you back now that school's coming. You're full and settled. Thank you for the introductions. Joy, as always, for online. David, for the insightful view. I had no idea about California, so that was wonderful for the reflection. Bill, all that you're doing with the reporting, we appreciate that. And Alon and Jim Bright for all the photos that you all give us. And Michael Shermis for navigating the Stateroom East. And then Alon and Michael, for those of you who don't know, Tyler is actually took a 2-week vacation to go home to California for the first time in quite some time. It was so earth moving. They had an earthquake in his honor, but thank you for standing in for the technicals. And with that, our next meeting will be on the 20th in the I have on the French Penny Room. That's not right. It's at St. Mark's. So because the parking truly will be a beast next week. So we'll have a nice big parking lot at St. Mark's, and our speaker will be Dick Mellinger on anyone? Homing pigeons, pigeon breeding. It is going to be amazing. I'm telling you. All right. With that, let's put up the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, was it beneficial to all concerned? And fifth, is it fun?